Hi, this is a video about driving in America. You're bound to be a bit daunted if you're used to driving in England. The main rule, if you come out of the airport and you find yourself on a big freeway with loads of lanes, is cruise in one of the middle lanes. Don't cruise along comfortably in the left lane or the right lane. In Europe, you think, well, I'll be safe and I'll just stay in the right lane. Don't do that in America, because they use the right lane to exit and enter the freeway. So it's very much a manoeuvring lane, the right lane. So is the left lane, which is used for overtaking and turning left. So if you want to cruise and relax, just go in one of the middle lanes, and then you're okay. Because in America, they don't always overtake on the left. They will overtake on either side of you. Just stay in your lane, in one of the middle lanes, not the very right, not the very left, one of the middle lanes, and you can relax, because they'll just cruise around, they'll overtake around you on either side. If you want to turn left, you must get into the left lane or one of the lanes designated on the left with arrows to turn left. Often it'll say left lane must turn left, for good reason. So if you're straight out of the airport and you think you're all comfortable on the right and you want to turn left, you can't unless you get into the left lane. It doesn't matter if you miss a turn, just carry on and then do it later. But you must get into the left lane before the left turn comes up. Obviously, the right turns are much easier in America. That's another rule. 90% of the time, if you get to a red light, you can turn right through the red light, as long as you're in the right-hand lane. 5% of the time, there'll be a sign saying no turn on red, in which case you can't. But generally, especially in country places, you can turn right through a red light, as long as nothing's coming, obviously, from the left. Another difference is you will get to crossroads which say all way. They're all-way crossings, and what happens there is they're shaped the same as an English crossroads. 4 roads meet at the junction, but each road has a stop sign. Whoever arrives first and stops can then go first. Sometimes, if you arrive at the same time as someone else, you'll both stop, obviously, and you might beckon to them to go, or they might beckon to you to go. So you work it out when you stop. But they're called all-way crossroads. Another different thing is speed limits. There are speed limits everywhere, and sometimes they'll be regular signs, and sometimes you'll get onto a road and you won't know what the speed limit is because there's no sign. They're quite irregular, but generally they are everywhere. In the big cities and the tiniest country roads, everywhere is speed limited, and it goes 25, 30, 35, 40. You'll never get a speed limit over 65 which are on the very big roads. Most of the time you're doing about 45 in the whole country. I mean, there are places in Montana, I think, where there's no speed limit, but generally in the populated areas you're on a very low speed compared to England, and initially it is very frustrating, but you do get used to it, and it has the effect of making you think you're going fast when you're doing 50. So it's actually quite safe. But no Americans stick to the speed limits, even though they're everywhere. So if you go around like you would in England, probably, or places in Europe, sticking completely to the speed limit, you'll find a build-up of cars behind you, because most Americans do about 5 over the speed limit. A general rule is to go no faster than the general flow of traffic on your road. The police do wait in little laybys, and especially outside towns near their police station. They'll just have a little spot where they just wait behind a hedge and you'll see it before it's too late. So I've been sticking to the speed limit, but you find a lot of cars building up behind you. And the problem on American roads is that 95% of the roads have a double yellow line in the centre of the road saying no overtaking. So although they have speed limits, no one keeps to them, and you can't overtake if people do keep to them. So it's a very strange system. In England, we're used to, you've got to watch yourself if you're going 3 over the speed limit, because if there is a policeman, he'll do you for it. That's not happening in America so much, unless you are conspicuously above the speed limit. Most people, as I say, are travelling at about 5 miles an hour above it, or a lot do a lot more. Some very, very few do the speed limit or less. So just be aware. They're not the letter of the law, although you wouldn't want to pass a policeman doing over the limit. So I would stick to them initially. Yes, overtaking is on either side. They don't use their indicators very much here. They just turn. So you've got to be ready for that. And their indicators are designed differently to ours on the back of the cars. They are incorporated really into the red lights. So they're not separate. And they're not always yet, they're very rarely kind of bright yellow like our indicators are. Suddenly you'll see the red light flash, and it's very subtle. So you've got to watch out for people turning, because indicator use is not sacrosanct like it is in Europe. But that's about it, really. So your 3 main rules: stick to the centre lanes for cruising on freeways, get into the left lane to turn left, be aware of speed limits, be aware that they will overtake you on both sides, and they don't use the indicator much. And that's about it. The only other strange thing I would say would be sometimes on a main road you will have an exit off to the left. You don't exit on a slip road to the right. You exit off onto another main road on the left. And for that you must, as usual, make sure you're in the left lane to do it. For navigation, I would urge everyone to use Google or Waze. I was using Google Maps, and because America is very expensive to use mobile data, you can download offline maps on Google Maps. So when you've got Wi-Fi, just go to Google Maps, and one of the options, I think top right, is offline maps, and then you can select a whole area to download offline, and that is a lifesaver. You won't get traffic info, but it downloads all the maps, and you can navigate without using mobile data through the whole country. Just be aware that if you log in and log out, it gets wiped and you'll have to do it again. But you can download a massive area, and it's great navigation, because you need that lane. You need to know what lanes to be in to exit. That's I found the biggest change to England, because it's all about left and right. But after 2 days, you get used to it. You really, really do. It's just really the first, when you're straight off the boat or the plane, probably the plane. It's a bit of a shock, but that was the big one. Get in the left lane to turn left. Cruise in the middle lanes. You can turn right on red lights, most of them. And be aware, not many people stick to the speed limits. Have fun. Good driving.